They said, oh, you have a postgrad degree, right? I said, don't have at that point, don't have. I said, oh, sorry, then you cannot teach. So they got someone in an unrelated field to teach it who has a postgrad degree.
If his skill set is so good, right, even if he doesn't have a diploma, nor does he have a degree, he'll still get hired at much higher pay than, even if the other guy has a degree.
Hi, my name is Alvin Pang. I'm a poet and editor, and today I'd love to talk about what I think is the value of education, especially university education.
Hi everyone, I'm Douglas Gunn. I'm an angel investor and I also operate startups. Today I hope to share more about not having a degree.
I just finished a PhD about a few years ago. Yeah, but for the longest time I had a bachelor's degree. What about you?
Just a diploma holder.
Diploma. It's not just it's diploma holder.
Diploma, okay.
Well, partly I wanted to get out of Singapore, to be perfectly honest. My university education was sponsored. I was the first university degree holder in my entire family. Back then, it was seen as a way to climb the ladder in life. I had my own reasons for wanting to do further degrees like my PhD as a way for me to think about my career and my work. At some point, sometimes we need to sit back and think about what is it we're doing and a bit of the why.
So I decided not to pursue a university education because I was already doing business. I was starting out a lot of companies. But actually I tried going to UOL for the first semester and I ended up going for a few lessons, and then I think econs and management were very theoretical. So what I was doing in life was much more practical.
What I actually do in the field also has very little to do with what happens in the classroom. But I still think there's value in a university education because I think there were things I learned that were different.
Although I didn't study formally in school, but you have to keep studying and keep innovating because I'm in the field of IT. So you keep changing. The curriculum in school takes a number of years before it's approved and finally let out to the students.
So it's not about getting a degree, not getting a degree, but what they teach and how they teach that needs to change. The decision, I think specifically, to take the kind of uni course that I did change my life. Being a lawyer is one of those things where you have no choice. You cannot learn from the market, you have to have a uni degree. A uni degree is not just about the skill set, it's also about the branding, the means. It's like having a license to drive. Whether or not you actually know how to drive, you need the license before you're allowed on the road. Which is also why people not just go to uni, it's even what uni, right? The branding. I know people who've gone to famous unis
just to get the associate.
Just to get the brand, to get the Oxford or whatever.
For me, it was more of peer pressure.
Okay.
Yeah, because all my cousins had degrees. So not having a degree in my family is quite embarrassing.
Okay, so it's the culture, it's the bureaucracy.
Pressure,
Wow, very sad. That the only reason why we do this is because face.
The decision not to pursue a university education was useful. Although thinking back, maybe I should have go to all the courses that I like, just like Steve Jobs. Then after that, drop out. When you apply for licenses, because recently I've been applying for fintech, finance-related licenses. They require you to have some form of a degree to prove that, on paper, you are fit and proper, they call it.
My father was not a degree holder. He could have gone to uni. Back then, he couldn't afford to go and it defined his life, for exactly that reason. Harder to become a principal. So he was marked by that his whole life. When I graduated, he wrote on my birthday card, do what I couldn't. For his generation, it made a very real difference. Our generation, there are more options. We can have other paths.
Wow. I'm hearing that a lot, right? Quite a lot of people that I've been interviewing also for my companies, they have degrees that are totally irrelevant to what they are practicing, what their skill set is. That has partly to do with our parents. So in fact, I went to poly because my mom was like, you must at least have a diploma. You cannot get a degree, never mind, you must at least have a diploma. Then after you get a diploma, she's like, no, you must go and try the degree. I think the stigma is definitely there. And I think the parents' pressure, especially Singapore, during my time, there's this thing called 5 Cs.
Now they don't talk about that.
Yeah, they don't talk about it.
For you young people who don't understand our ancient code language, the 5 Cs refer to cash, car, condo, credit card, and country club.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
I still remember, burn into my brain what you need from life, But it turns out you don't actually need a university degree to get those things. And also, there are other things in life.
Management skills, leadership skills, these are things that you can't really learn in a degree. Yeah, you got to practice that.
The days of imagining that you study this means you must do this, I think those days are over. Because more and more work requires us to cut across a different skill set. I think it's very difficult in Singapore. Most people have someone paying their bills for them. You have less of a say, or you have parents who will have a certain kind of pressure. So do we really get a chance to think about what we want to do for ourselves? I think young people should, but I don't think we do it as much as many other places where students are prepared to take on their own debt. We don't have that culture here.
Finland, for example, they take responsibility of their life in a very early age because it's a norm. Yeah, whereas here we're quite protected, I think.
We like to see education as a conveyor belt to success and better things in life. So that is maybe the education we need, helping young people, Singaporeans, to learn what is it they really care about, what they really want from life. Is it true? No?
Actually, it's true, huh? I remember when I signed on police, they said that, if you're a degree holder, you'll get 3.5 or something like that. And if you're a non-degree holder, you'll get like maybe 8 or something. Yeah, quite a big difference. But if you're like a programmer, for example, diploma holders or degree holder doesn't matter because that guy with the programming skill set matters way more. If his skill set is so good, right? Even if he doesn't have a diploma, nor does he have a degree, he'll still get hired at much higher pay than, even if the other guy has a degree. Yeah. I think I would have just not study. My first few days in school, I went up to my mentor, in poly and told him that I'm doing business and that I'm earning back then about 30,000 a month. And I told him that, I won't make trouble, but basically I'll be attending less of the practicals and tutorials. And he was very cool. Imagine if I didn't have that support. Yeah, then I'm better off probably not just not studying. In the school of IT, whatever you're learning outside is already far more advanced than whatever the school can teach you.
Back in my day, the paths were very rigid. Like you can't do comm science and arts at the same time. So today I would have looked for what kind of school gives me that kind of opportunity. I think you need to learn what is your own mind. That's not as easy as people think, especially when you're young, right? Actually, a lot of your ideas come from elsewhere. Parents, your friends, and so on. Very few people, when they're young, actually know what they really want out of life. If you do, good for you, cultivate that. Also be prepared to learn outside the box, right? To be in your discomfort zone. Because the world is always changing. Learn about what you don't know and understand how it relates to you.
When you like something so much, you become very passionate about it. Then as you're passionate about it, you tend to do very well in it.
Yes.
So when I was really young, I compartmentalized all the things that I want to do into 4 things, 4 boxes. So the first box, I call it the political box. Then the second box, I call it professional. And then the third box is business. The last box, celebrity. So based on these 4 boxes, I installed all the occupations that I ever dreamt of becoming. Business became the mainstay. I think this topic is less discussed these days. The environment has changed. I remember during my time, most of my peers or the people around my age would agree that having a degree is very important.
There was the idea of, get a degree, get good qualifications, or else, right? There are very few paths to success.
But these days, it is less relevant whether you have a degree or not.
Young people understand, I might just go and start a business with my friends, see how it goes. I may or may not get a degree, or if I want to be this particular thing, maybe going straight to a degree is not necessarily the best way to do things.
Sure, maybe they will still have the stigma from their parents who will pressure them to take on some form of a degree.
But that may not be what we really want or need from life. So asking this question, I think, makes us think and makes us choose. And in the end, that's really what's going to matter.